Susan Shane.
Hi, everyone.
And Susan is an acupuncturist who's done something really amazing. And but just let me give you a little teaser. She has figured out how to use magnets, little teeny magnets, on various places on your hand to elicit different responses with your body, getting rid of pain, helping you sleep. It's amazing, and you are not going to want to miss this, because what she does gives all kinds of great experiences for your body, like sleeping, without any drugs. Simply the use of a magnet, right, Susan?
The system is so simple. You use your hand and you use a magnet to help balance your body. It is very simple.
So stick around. You'll want to learn them all about hand energetics. Okay, now remember, live stream viewers, you are backstage with us, so you're actually watching us record the show. So what you see here is going to be real life. So you'll see us chit-chatting a little in between segments. My sound engineer may pop in and need to make an adjustment here or there, but you will hear the show. So in just a moment, we will be getting ready to start actually recording Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. Thanks for being with us. Okay, Todd, we're good? All right. All right, Missy, we'll bring you back in just a little bit.
I look forward. Thank you.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. All righty. Here we go. So just to let everybody know, I always clap at the beginning of the segment, because then when they edit the show, that helps them see a spike and they know when we're beginning. Okay, here we go. Whoop. I'm going to do that again because I forgot to hit my little button. I have a clock here that keeps me on time. So here we go. Welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I am so glad to have you here today. I am calling this show Magical Magnets, which put wellness in your hands. Yes. I have Susan Shane with me today, and she has developed hand energetics, which is a way to actually create healing, relieve pain, induce sleep. It does all kinds of things in the body simply with little teeny magnets. So you're going to be learning a lot more about that when Susan joins us later in the show. So please stay with us, because you'll want to know all about hand energetics, because it's a natural way to create an easing of pain, wellness, greater health, and better sleep without drugs. All right, Susan will be with us shortly. In the meantime, I'm so glad that you are with us today, because as you all know, Change It Up Radio is all about helping people deal with change, right? You know, change is probably the only thing we can count on in life, for sure. Change is going to come, whether you like what's going on in your life right now or you don't. Change is coming. So we humans have this interesting dilemma with change. We need it. We crave it. We want it, because it's how we grow. It's how we stay interested in life. But on the other hand, we hate the discomfort of it. You've heard me say that before, and it's so true. So, as you know, I'm a life transitions therapist. I'm an author and a speaker, and, of course, your host here on Change It Up Radio. But all of my work is about helping people deal with change. Sometimes that's a change in their health, and that can create a lot of upheaval in their lives. Sometimes it's a change in a relationship, and perhaps that creates upheaval in a life. So change it's a constant, and yet we all react to it differently. Some of us welcome it, and we find it exciting, and we can't wait to see what's around the next corner. Others get very sad about it, or they get very angry with it, or it terrifies them, and they really do need help dealing with how frightened they are of the new circumstances. So we all have our various ways of interpreting the changes that we go through in life. And one of the things I wanted to talk about a little bit this morning is something that I was discussing last week. I did a presentation for my Rotary group, and I was talking about how we respond in life. And there are three major factors that influence how we respond to anything in life, to how a person treats us, to a political change, to a romance, anything that comes into our life experience. We are responding to from three different places. One of those places is, of course, our past experiences, and particularly any traumas that we may have gone through. And so, of course, if you were 3 years old and there was a giant earthquake, it might just be that every time the ground shakes, which happens here in California, that I react with the panic state of a 3-year-old, if that was me at that age. So those life experiences and those life traumas, they influence us in a big way, and they influence how we respond to life down the road. The second thing that really influences how we react and we respond is our limiting subconscious beliefs. Now, this is a really tricky one because these beliefs are subconscious, so we don't really even know that we have them. And our conscious mind here is only 5% of the mind functioning. So if you do the math, you can see that our lives are being much more run by the 95% that's subconscious, that we're not even aware of. And that's one of the biggest parts of the work that I do with my clients. I help them find what those limiting subconscious beliefs are so that they can have a better understanding of what's going on, and so that we can also clear those limiting beliefs, get rid of them, so they're not impacting you anymore. Let me give you a little example on that one. I had a woman one day in my office, and I said, "So how can I help you? What's going on?" And she said, "I have just got radar for every narcissistic jerk guy out there." And so she talked a little more and told me a little more of her history. And I said, "I wonder if you have a limiting subconscious belief that you don't deserve to be treated beautifully by a man, or that you don't deserve respect from a man." And she was like, "Oh, well, of course I don't believe that. I do think I deserve respect from a man." And so using something called neuromuscular feedback, or muscle testing for short, I tested her. And the way that basically works is, if you are congruent with something, if you believe something, or it's congruent with your vibration, then if someone puts pressure on a muscle, you'll be able to be strong. But if you're not congruent with it, or it's not good for you, maybe it's a food or something that you shouldn't eat, your muscles will go weak because your biofield is impacted by the energy frequency of that thing, or the fact that you're not congruent with it if it's something that isn't true. So I did this kind of thing with her, and I had her make this statement: "I don't believe I'm worthy of being treated beautifully by a man." And guess what her arm did? She was like the Rock of Gibraltar. She held that subconscious belief that she didn't believe that. So, of course, to be attracted to narcissistic men who weren't even going to be able to see her and acknowledge her presence in the room, that was a natural, because it was congruent with her belief. So we then did the work to remove that belief, to get rid of it, and a couple of months later, she found herself in a relationship with a really lovely man. So the part that always gets to me about that is, as I said, most of us don't even know we have those beliefs. In fact, we think we believe just the opposite. But so I want to encourage you, as our listeners, to look at what's showing up in your life, because what's showing up is going to be a better, what's the word I want? It'll help us know more clearly what's in the subconscious than the thinking Obviously, the woman I was telling you about thought she was holding a belief to attract a really wonderful man, but she wasn't. So I think it's a really important part of the work I do, and I think we all need to be aware that we have these subconscious beliefs that can be running our lives and impacting the way we're reacting in life. Now, the third factor that impacts how we react in life is, and this one's hot off the press from the field of epigenetics, we now know that we are also impacted by how our ancestors reacted to life. We have inherited the genetic signatures of how they reacted and responded to life. So think about it. If you come from a people who knew famine or war or political upheaval throughout their history, imagine how that's impacting how you're living your life today, even if you're not experiencing any of those specific things. And I want to share with you a little study that was done that first opened the scientists' eyes to this factor. And what they did was they took a mouse and they introduced a certain fragrance and at the same time gave him a small shock. And the mouse had a response, like a shudder response to the shock. After a little while, they could introduce the fragrance and the mouse would react as though he'd been shocked, even though he hadn't been shocked. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. 3 generations later, his grandchildren, when introduced to that same smell, reacted with the shudder response, even though they had never been shocked. So that's how this works. These genetic signatures from our ancestors live within our genealogy and have impact on how we are responding in life. So we were talking about change. So think about it. Does change scare you? Do you want us to be aware of? Because they are most definitely impacting how we are responding to the people, to the places, and the experiences in our lives. Okay, so in our next segment, we're going to be answering some emails from people out there who have questions. Because as you all know, this book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say, is my latest book. And we are getting a lot of questions from people about how to say the right thing when you don't know what to say. So we're going to be answering some of those questions in a couple of emails in our next segment. So please stay with us. And after that, you will be meeting Susan Shane, who is the person who created hand energetics. We'll be right back. Okay. So Facebook live stream viewers, we're just going to pause for a moment here while I put my ear plugs in so that I can hear my sound engineer, Todd. You guys doing okay? Do you need your water? Okay.
Can you hear me, Paula?
Yeah, you're a little soft. Let me see if I can turn you up a bit.
How about that? Is that better?
Oh, that's better. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. If you're ready, I'm ready.
Ready.
Okay, wait a second. Let me move to another page here. Okay. It's always kind of fun looking at my notes and seeing what I planned to say and then what I did say. It's always a little bit of a mystery. All right, here we go, Todd.
Okay.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are delighted to have you with us today because we, in just a little bit, are going to be talking with Susan Shane about hand energetics, which is a system that uses small magnets to bring about certain changes within your body, whether that's getting rid of pain or creating sleep or relaxation. We're going to hear all about what Susan has got going here in hand energetics in just a few minutes. Right now, we're going to be answering some emails. So, Todd, what have we got?
Yes, we have a couple emails today. The first one reads, "Hi, Paula. I'm in a new relationship, and things are going really well for the most part. We get along well, and Jim is a kind, sweet man. However, after a while, certain things really start to bug you. I'd like to be able to discuss these things with him while they're still small things. I don't want resentment to build up. And yet, I'm hesitant to start a conversation that might disrupt the fun and harmony that we currently have going. Can you help me with saying the right thing? Jana.
Hi, Jana. Wow, that is a very common dilemma, because in the early stages of a relationship, everything's just ducky, isn't it? Because you're excited about him and he's excited about you, and you're just learning about each other, and things are going really well. But the temptation to not speak your truth and not speak your mind is huge at that point in time, because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to ruin what seems to be a really wonderful thing that's going on. But the truth is, if you're not authentic in the beginning, if you don't begin the relationship by telling your truth, then the relationship's going to have some rocky moments, if it survives at all. Because sooner or later, the real you is going to show up. These things that you're saying are beginning to bug you. They may be little things now, but they can grow into big, huge things that turn into big, huge walls that separate people and destroy relationships. So here's what I would suggest. First of all, you never want to corner somebody, especially not a man. So I think if you approach him by saying something kind of like this, look, Jim, God, things are going so great between us, and I really love my time with you, and I'm really enjoying our relationship. But there are, we're getting to know each other, and so there are things about me that you don't know that I'd like to share with you, so that as they come up in our relationship, we'll be able to do better with these things. So if you kind of approach it something like that, you don't have to use those exact words, of course. What you're doing is you're showing Jim that you're in the spirit of wanting to improve the relationship, wanting to help it grow, rather than criticizing him or judging him. Because if you put anybody on the defensive and back them into a corner, the claws are going up. And then that is not a productive way to have a conversation, for sure. So you want to, and by the way, and I say this to all the women out there, don't just burst into conversation. If your man's watching a football game, or he's reading a book, or whatever it is that he's doing, he's into it, or he wouldn't be doing it. And men are single-focused. So if you just barge in with all your emotion and all your feelings, it's not very likely that you're going to be well received. And if you're not well received, why bother to communicate in the first place, right? So here's what I suggest. You might just say to him, are you available to talk right now? And if he says, no, I'm watching the game, don't go, oh, okay, yeah, the game's more important than I am, because we've all done that. I've been there too. But what you want to do instead is just say, okay, when would be a better time? And then let him tell you when will be a time, because what he's really saying is, at this time, I can really focus on you and hear you. So there will be a better result of our conversation. So that's my first tip. Sort of make an appointment with him and see when he's going to be receptive to the conversation. And then approach the conversation from this position more of wanting him to understand and know you better, rather than, you did this and it really hurt my feelings and I don't want to be talked to that way. Or, we tend to do that, we women, because we're experiencing emotion. And sometimes it's difficult when we're emotional to hold that back. But if you want a long-term better result, Jana, then that's what I would advise. And then just stay tuned in. Stay tuned into how he's receiving you and what he's saying, because that will really help you know what to say next. If you're really listening and you're really present, those are two of the most important components in a good conversation. All right, I hope that was helpful. Todd, do we have another?
Yes, we do. And I'm seeing a trend here. Here's another one from a wife about her husband. I'm
Uh-oh.
telling these guys, they better step their communication game up, especially with Valentine's Day right around the corner. But
Well put, Todd.
well, this one.
A good warning.
Yes, warning to all the husbands. This one reads, "Hi, Paula. My husband is very left brain kind of guy. He's an engineer. Does that help you get the picture? Anyways, he's a real solid guy and I adore him, but he's very factually oriented, which doesn't make him the sweep you off the feet romantic kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to have a conversation with him that won't make him feel like I'm confronting him or making him feel that he's wrong. I just want him to know I want him to know what would feel like to have a romantic date. What would it feel like to have a romantic date or a thoughtful gift to me? I know he loves me, but I need him to step up his game in the romance department. What do I do, Patty?"
Oh, Patty, there are probably 10 million women out there that could write that same email. Excuse me. So, first of all, let me say there's an interesting thing that happens between men and women, and actually all people, and that is that opposites attract. So while you describe your husband as this kind of left brain engineer type, my guess is that you're fun and ebullient, and you are much more social and much more people oriented than he is. And as you said, he doesn't seem to have your ideas about what's romantic and what isn't. So here's what I want to tell you about opposite attraction. Opposite attraction can be really intense, and it can be really, really beautiful, and it can have great chemistry. It can create fireworks. But as a friend of mine once said, but fireworks are only beautiful at night. So sometimes what happens in an opposite attraction like yours is we're baffled by that other person. At first, we're really attracted to them because they're different and they see the world differently than we do. And that's the beauty of it. If you can accept that person for who they are, they're going to expand your world because they're experiencing life in a different way. But too often, especially when we get angry at them, we judge all those things that they do and that they are that are not like us. And that's where the trouble can begin. So since you clearly love your husband, who is this left brain engineer type, then what I would do, again, kind of similarly to what I was just saying to Jana, you want to make time for a conversation when he's available, not when he's busy doing something else. And you want, again, to approach this conversation from a perspective of you're wanting him to understand you better or understand how you see the world. But I would suggest first, set an intention. Because when we set an intention, it's kind of like we're telling the energy how we would like it to show up. Because energy is random. If we don't set intentions, that energy might show up in a million different ways. I don't know about you, but I'd rather have it show up the way I would like it to show up. So set that intention, and maybe your intention for this conversation would be something like, my intention is that Jim will understand, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure that I remember if that's what your husband's name is, but that he will understand that I love him and I just want to make our relationship better. And so I need him to kind of understand how I think and how I feel in a more clear way. So now you have told the particles and waves of energy that make up life, you've announced to them, you've let them know very clearly how you'd like them to show up. And trust me, this is like a magical thing, setting intention. I don't do anything important in my life without setting an intention. And every morning when I do my meditation, I set an intention for that day. And I'm telling you, since I started doing that, things are so much more likely to go the way I want them to go. They're so much more likely to flow with ease and grace, and the day just goes better. So remember that little tip. Before you do anything important, all of my listeners, set a little intention. And it doesn't have to be any big deal. It's just my intention is, and then just state what you would like to have happen. So I'm going to do an example for you now. My intention is that in just a few moments, Susan Shane will come on this show and she will enlighten us about hand energetics, and it's going to be amazing. And we will be right back with Susan Shane. See how perfectly that works? Ask and you shall receive. Manifest what you want. All right. We will be back right after this break with Susan Shane talking about hand energetics. We'll be right back. All right, Miss Susan, roll on in. Good. All right. Okay, now do we have, well, we've got all the pieces of what we need.
Correct.
Okay, now let me get your bio ready here. So live streamers, we're going to start with Susan in just a moment. I just got to get my notes ready.
I'm going to have a sip too.
Yeah, my throat is not behaving today. Okay.
Right.
Whoops. Okay, put that over there. All righty.
And do we want to put this up?
Yes. Oh, here, let's put it right here. There we go.
And these are okay?
That.
And you have yours, I have mine.
Now those, I'm not sure if they can see. Can they see those, Michael? We might need to put them. How about if it's there?
That's good.
And then one here.
Put one over there. We have a display.
Okay. Oh, I better put them like that. All right. Vanna White and friend are ready now.
Yes.
Okay. Where did the bio disappear to? Here we go. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. And as promised, in this segment, I have with me in studio Susan Shane. And Susan Shane is a very special lady, so let me tell you a little bit about her before we start talking to her. When we think about healthcare, I think a lot of us picture doctor visits, hospitals, pharmacies, medical bills, you know, the usual thing. But Susan is a wellness expert. She's an author and a licensed acupuncturist. And she is inviting us to take our wellness into our own hands through the use of hand energetics. This is a system that is empowering people everywhere to have direct impact on their health experience. And I can't wait to ask Susan more about it because it is really a very cool thing. And I have had my own experience with it that I'm anxious to tell you about as well. So welcome, Susan.
Thank you, Paula, for this opportunity. I am so excited to share information about hand energetics because truly wellness is in your hands. By using the ancient acupuncture information and insight remapped onto the hand, front and back, and using modern technology, the magical magnets that Paula has mentioned, you can rebalance your body and create a homeostasis.
So how did hand energetics actually begin? Susan, did you create this?
Hand energetics was a wonderful opportunity that I was included to learn and train and then help spread the message about. My mentor showed a group of students, I was one of those students, how to use the hand and learn where all those acupuncture points would be remapped front and back. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of points on the full body. So there was extensive training in just that remapping process. Afterwards, we learned how to use the magnets very simply and easily on those points and experience transformations that help people and our group, our students, feel better. With that, I've been teaching and coaching and helping many individuals use the hand energetics to feel better, to sleep better, to create that homeostasis that's ideal for optimum wellness.
So just so I'm clear that I'm understanding this correctly, are you saying on your hand are points that correspond to the whole body?
To the whole body, because the acupuncture system has meridians, energy pathways, and those pathways flow from top to bottom, left to right, all throughout your body. And when you know where those points are located on your body, when you see the acupuncturist, they're balancing those points to help you feel better. It's the same idea, but made into the microsystem of your hand, front and back.
So when you're working with a client, obviously you use needles because you're an acupuncturist, right?
Yes.
And then do you also use the magnets? And how would you do that if you do?
The beauty of the hand energetics, I have some clients that just use magnets because they live in another state. We work remotely. We can discuss their personal situation, and then I can show them on their hand how to use the magnets, just as if they were getting an acupuncture treatment. Then I have clients locally that really love the acupuncture, so I still incorporate that process. They have their acupuncture treatment, and when they leave, they get a customized hand energetic magnet therapy protocol to do every day. So every day they're building their body. Every day they're balancing their body. And if they can't sleep at night, it's easy to pull out your magnet and put it on your hand. And that's what they're doing. And they're sleeping really well.
Yes, speaking of that, if you go to Susan's website, what is the website where they can sign up for the sleep?
The sleep
finding
spot.
your sleep spot.
That website is handenergetics.com/sleep. By doing that entry, you can get right to your sleep spot. And when you sign up for your sleep spot, you get a very quick, easy experience of how hand energetics can calm you and relax your body for more quality sleep. It's a very simple process just to go to that handenergetics.com/sleep.
And I did exactly that.
Of your middle finger.
Oh, okay. The middle of the middle.
The middle of the middle.
So, Susan, for those that are watching us on Facebook, can you show them what a magnet looks like so we can see the size of it? And
they're
that
wonderful.
works?
I would love to show you the magnets. They're stored in a beautiful wood and brass case. But here is a set of the magnets. And then it's very easy to take one from the set. And that's how big.
They're very small, and all
Very
you
small.
really need to do is just set it on the spot that you want to activate, and then just put a piece of tape of some kind over it, and it easily stays where you put it. And last night, so I tried the sleep one, and here's what I thought was really cool. Not only did I have no problem falling asleep, but I woke up. And this is my problem usually. If I wake up and I have a lot on my mind, it can be hard to go back to sleep. And as we all know, sleep is like one of the number one problems for Americans with their health right now.
Sleep
right?
deprivation is epidemic. And what happens is your immune system lowers, you might gain weight, you might feel a backache, a headache, your brain is foggy, like you were saying. It's really hard to function without your proper sleep. And it's become epidemic for many, many reasons.
Almost 50% of the people in the United States have sleep problems. So what happened to me that was so interesting, and what I experienced, Susan, it was kind of crazy, because when I put the magnet on my finger, but I could have sworn I felt like this sort of, I don't know, this vibration, this easing around my eyes and in my head.
Yes.
Is that normal?
That is exactly the shift that you're looking for. The magnet, once you place it on the proper location, then you can feel the shift, that tingling, that relaxation, if that's what you're needing so that you can go to sleep. You actually experience the shift as soon as you put the magnet on.
It was instant.
It is really instant.
It's crazy. But it was, instant. And what I also want to share with our listeners is when I first went to Susan, I was having some terrible low back pain. Now, as I recall, didn't you put a magnet like here on the top
back
of
your
hand?
hand?
Yeah.
Yes. The back of your hand is for the musculoskeletal situations. And when you see the map, the coaching I love to offer, especially when I've been lecturing to a group of people, I find that I need to explain where on the hand you place the magnet. I encourage and support how to place the magnet. We figure out what adhesive to use, whether it's a waterproof or a paper tape, or even painter's tape can work to hold the magnet in place. Once we get everything situated when I'm speaking to a group, they will feel the shift instantaneously. It is so amazing to have everyone go, oh, I'm feeling better with my shoulder or my elbow. In that same spirit, what I've been able to create for the handenergetics.com on the remote or website arena, I show them the map. I provide the kit and the tools. You get to pick your adhesive, but there's also individual private consultations and coaching where I can make sure that you're putting the placement correctly and that together we're creating the proper protocol for you, whatever it is that you're needing to create the quality sleep or the lowering of back pain. I'm a factor. The coaching is a factor. The kit is the tool. And the tape is your choice of what you prefer to use.
And so you do this online, I would assume, so people in all parts of the world can work with you?
All over the world. I have clients all over the world currently. I love to work with anybody and everyone. And the feeling, the homeostasis, the optimum wellness that is increased by using this information has been astounding. I'm just so fortunate to let people know about this system, this wonderful wellness system, and I'm really, really happy that I get to help coach, encourage, and support. It is very simple to do. The beauty about the magnets is that they are biomarked, and that way you can tell if you need to reduce pain or inflammation, you know how to place the magnet to create that, or if you need energy or you feel a little sluggish and you want to perk up, how to place the magnet correctly. It's very simple.
Yes, and I do love that about that. And as soon as we come back from this break, we'll be talking a little bit more about that because I just learned recently that, yes, one side of the magnet energizes and the other side of the magnet calms, which is even more magical. So we will be right back after this break to learn more about hand energetics with Susan Shane. Be right back. Okay. Now, Michael, you can be included in this conversation. Anything, I was thinking we could talk about the positive and negative side a little bit. Well, we kind of hit on that, but what? Oh, that's just what we see. They aren't seeing that. Yeah. And you can hear okay, Todd? Okay, thanks, honey.
Okay.
Okay, so anything in particular you guys want to hit on in this segment that we didn't talk about?
I think that re-emphasizing the biomarking, just to let them know it's very easy that way. We mentioned the tape, the equipment, the coaching, and sharing a couple success stories.
Yeah.
Just to have that aspect.
Yeah. And then we want to do, is the sleep thing, is that what you want to send them to? Is that the website you want to send them to?
thehandenergetics.com/sleep.
Okay.
Correct.
Perfect.
And that way they can sign up and get that quick experience.
Okay. For free. That's right. Did we say that? We'll make sure we say it. I think we did. Okay. Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw, My guest in studio with me today is Susan Shane, who is talking to us about hand energetics. If you missed the last segment, let me just bring you up to speed here. Susan is an acupuncturist who is telling the world about this system called hand energetics, which uses little small magnets, which I may be able to talk her into showing you again, to actually impact the overall health and wellness of the body just using the hand. That's a whole stack of the magnets. So, yeah, there's one little team. It's so hard to even see. I wish we had a little piece of tape that we could hold up, but that's how teeny it is right there. And you just put them on different acupoints. So, and they create instant reactions. So, like if you're using them to calm pain, you're going to feel a response like right away, right, Susan?
Absolutely. One time I was working with an individual whose jaw really felt frozen, and they were trying all types of treatments and seeing doctors, but their jaw discomfort wasn't going away. They found the magnet location on your hand for the jaw, and they placed the proper polarity on that location, and there was some relief. Then we doubled the magnets. We put double because it was an acute situation, and they started to actually have some relief. And they asked, can I put 3? And they tried 3, and the pain disappeared.
Wow.
Just in that moment. It was so wonderful to know that they could have this now to help out to get the jaw discomfort to go away.
That's huge. Now, we actually haven't talked before about that you can double up and maybe get more cluck for your buck, so to speak. Huh?
Well, you have enough magnets in your kit that you can use them for yourself. You can share them with your family. And then depending upon the situation, you'll learn your coaching. If you need to double up, like you only want to use as much of the magnet as necessary, you don't necessarily jump into doubling or even putting 3 on.
Good.
However, the option is available. You want to use the right amount of magnet protocol to balance your body, to reduce the pain, but also energize if you need that as well. You might need both, and you can do both.
So if I buy a kit, what do I get? Let's talk about that.
With the kit, you do receive the case for the magnets, and it's wood
Beautiful
and
little
brass.
wooden, yeah.
You can travel with this kit. I have clients who do a lot of international business work.
Can you go through the thing at the airport?
Absolutely. Security is easy, no problem.
Great.
And then they are using the magnets when they're traveling on the airplane to prevent jet lag. There are even ways to increase your quality of sleep when you're on the plane and arrive in that destination and feeling refreshed. So they're thrilled to death. They definitely take their kit when they're traveling. Also, what you receive, which is really important and very valuable, the hand map of the acupuncture insight and wisdom, the front and the back. And it lets you know in a very comprehensive fashion where the points are of what you need to do to feel better.
So with your little hand map and this nifty little thing full of magnets, all you need is a little bit of tape of some kind, and you've got the world by the tail.
Exactly.
Your health is in your hands.
And everybody has their own preference for the adhesive tape. I offer you to try different types and see which feels best for your hand.
Good idea, because some people do have a little sensitivity to different adhesives.
Right.
So I think that's a really important piece. So, Susan, I love that story that you just told. That was very cool. Tell us, can you tell us another one of somebody that had something happen that profound, that quickly?
Well, I had a client who works in a very high stress situation, and it's seasonal where it gets really, really, really busy. And this gentleman would just wake up not hungry, not wanting to have breakfast, but still having to enter the workplace with that type of intensity. In addition, they had experienced a chronic dry throat and always clearing their throat because of that condition. We discussed remotely how to use the magnets to increase the energy so that after you did have your quality sleep, you would wake up refreshed and energized, and at the same time addressed this dryness of the throat, chronic, years and years and years. This particular individual now wakes up hungry, eats breakfast, has a ton of energy for the high-stress job, and their throat is clear.
Wow.
That took a few weeks, but every day for only 30 minutes to try the protocol and use the magnets, that's significant.
So that's a good point, too. So do most of the protocols require that you have the magnets on for 30 minutes, or do you just leave them on? How does that work?
The suggested time is about 30 minutes to wear the proper magnet protocol. By doing so, you can go for a walk with your dog. You could do a meditation with a special intention. You could read poetry. You could drink some herbal tea just to try to relax. Do something else that is restorative. And in fact, a lot of people do a restorative yoga pose so that they could relax that way, but use the magnets.
That's brilliant.
It's a really lovely combination. And 30 minutes seems to be enough to adjust. With children, it is a shorter time frame. They shift so quickly.
They do. They really do. And what I love about what you've just said, Susan, is one of the things I think is a big problem for most people I know is we don't give ourselves any self-nurturing time.
Right.
We don't take that time to meditate or the restorative pose or any of those things. I love this idea that you might even have a daily ritual. You put your magnets on, you stick them where they're supposed to go, you pour yourself a cup of beautiful tea, and then you either do a yoga pose or you meditate or you maybe walk in a garden or something, you know.
And you can journal. Journaling is a really lovely option.
Oh, that is beautiful. Incorporating the magnets into some kind of self-care. I love that. I think we ought to take that on the road.
I think so too. It's the whole idea is to offer yourself positive self-care to balance your body. And that way, in between appointments that you may have with a particular doctor or practitioner, you keep that, but now you're also supporting yourself in between. Or if something comes up and you can't get out to a particular person to help you, you have your own tool.
Right. It's your own medical bag.
Your own medical support system here.
Yes.
And it's very empowering. And that way you do tune in and you can really shift.
You know, one of the things we mentioned in the last segment was one side of the magnet is negative, a negative polarity, and the other is a positive. So one side is calming and the other side is energizing, right?
Correct.
So let's say I have some low back pain and I put the magnets on those places on the back of my hand that I would find in my little map book. I put that on for 30 minutes, but now I've got a big presentation to do. Can I put some energizing magnets on after I take those off?
That's an excellent option. That's a wonderful way to utilize both options using the magnets. So definitely get rid of what is interfering. Whatever might be hurting or might be causing discomfort, remove that situation and then energize. That's a really great way. And sometimes you can put the two together if you're in a time crunch. And the body's going to understand, oh, back, reduce the discomfort. Oh, the rest of the body, increase the energy. So the acupoints remapped onto the hand are going to understand if you combine or if you separate. And then you can feel the shifts, both types, that way.
So one of the things that I keep thinking about, Susan, is I've been reading a lot lately that two of the biggest problems that are going on among Americans and people all over the world that are affecting our health are sleep issues, which we were talking about earlier, and stress.
Correct.
Stress is a killer on every level, even cancer causing. And these magnets, if I'm understanding correctly, can address both of those things, sleep and stress, among other things, and pain relief and other body balancing and all of that, without drugs or chemicals, correct?
This is the beauty. There's no drugs, there's no chemicals. It's your body, the energy within your body, and the magnets helping to balance. I even have a specific stress protocol that's so helpful that you can use that particular protocol by itself and then see if you sleep through the night. If you have sleep issues in addition to the stressors, you can do both the sleep and the stress protocols together. You can mix and match and figure out how much of each protocol is needed. Stress is everywhere. And when you get caught up and are in that sympathetic nervous system reactionary state, it's very hard to sleep well. If you can calm and create the parasympathetic nervous system to be incorporated and to relax your body, then the stress starts to melt away. In addition, you get a quality night of sleep.
So, Susan, let's give them the website address one more time before we run out of time here.
The website address is handenergetics.com to have a very quick experience of the Hand Energetics wellness system. Please go to the handenergetics.com/sleep and sign up for that sleep spot. It's free. And once you know where that sleep spot is, you can start balancing your body and getting a good night's sleep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Susan Shane, for this wonderful information. And all of you, I suggest, as I did, that you go to handenergetics.com/sleep and start getting a good night's sleep. Thank you for joining us, Susan. You were amazing. This is an amazing system. And thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget, you can catch us on AM 1170, The Answer, and 96.1 FM, The Answer, at 9 o'clock on Sunday evenings. We are on every major podcast platform, including iHeart and Blog Talk and all of those. And if you can't remember any of that, please just ask Alexa. She will find us. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you, Susan.
Oh, thank you, Paula. This has just been so awesome.
All right. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
All right, my darling, that's a wrap. Yay.
That was great. Great.
Oh, cool.
Anybody that doesn't want to set any magnets now has got to be having their